Hello, welcome to Flory Models. I'm Philip Flory. Very busy week this week. As a lot of you know, last Friday we had the big order of the new Flory Models sounding range came in. Now I know I spoke about it on the show as well, but literally they came in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We had a mad rush because obviously we were preparing for the Salisbury show for IPMS Salisbury, and then we took them along to there. Sold loads there, and then obviously a lot of you bought them overline. So originally what happened was we had the sets all done up. And the idea was we had the order split in two because the manufacturer couldn't do them all in one mass run. So we had 24,000 turn up on Friday, and we were expecting to do the next 24 at the end of this month. Unfortunately, we sold out, which was fantastic news for us. Not brilliant news for you guys who are still trying to order, because we were doing the skinny sort of set. So you obviously got the fine, the medium and the coarse skinny sticks, the little 4mm and 5mm ones, with obviously the foamy one as well. The thing was, we were doing like a 4 for 3 offer, so it's £15 instead of the standard sort of 20 quid, and we sold out, and it just went oodles and went flying out. The problem with that is that two of the range, we didn't have that many of them in, so consequently we only had 4,000 of each of the thin ones in, so that's why it whacked us out and why they're not actually up on the site at the moment. The course, we've got 9,000 packs of those still here, and we certainly got some of the mediums as well, but the fine ones we were out of, hence why there's none on the site at the moment. I've spoken to our manufacturer, who was obviously delighted for us and all the rest of it, so they are doing a production run for us today, Friday, as we speak. They'll be on a courier, they'll be to us on Monday, and ready to go. So hopefully they'll be back on site Monday or Tuesday. So that's the problem for that. If you haven't seen the skinny sticks, as I said, these are the 4mm ones, little tiny ones, which are great for getting in little tight areas and everything else like that. I love using them. I know you guys love using them. And to be honest, we feel ours are a lot better quality than said other manufacturers. Anyway, that's the thing to that. Other things that have been going on, obviously you said we did the Salisbury show. Great to talk to loads of you at the Salisbury show and everything else like that. It was a great show as well, so a big thank you for IPMS Salisbury for putting up with us and everything else, and I hope the area next to us didn't mind us too much. So anyway, we had a great time like that. This week I've been carrying on with the tank, which I've got to find. Where is he? Here he is. This is our Panzer we've been doing, and the reason he's separate and out of the way is because I did a little short film for you, but now it's all complete and literally ready for paint. So I'll be painting this on Monday. I'll be into the paint bait and everything else, and what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and do it in one take, start to finish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the paint work start to finish in one take, so the camera never turns off, and then I'll do the weathering in one take, so the camera doesn't turn off. So parts 3 and 4, one should be just painting, and then obviously part 4 will be weathering. That's if it works like it. Might be it'll take me hours and hours to do it, but I'm hoping to show you a couple of techniques that I do for aircraft, which I can certainly use on armour, that'll speed things up, things like that. So that's the plan with that one. So part 2 is up on the site at the moment. Yes, there's a couple of pauses in it and everything else, and that is because I don't do armour normally, and I'm thinking, where the hell does this go, and what, this is tiny, and things like that. So that's why I'm a little bit quieter and not rabbiting on like I normally do, because obviously I don't know much about that one. So that's up on the site and going through. A lot of you have asked about the F-16i. Yes, we will be starting it. I'm hoping to start it very, very soon. But to be honest, we're just waiting for the electronics to be perfected and everything else, because obviously this one's going to be fully lit up and working from an electrics point of view. So the cockpit's going to be lit up and the lights and everything else. Now, obviously this is new for us. It's going to be new for you, and it's new for the guys who helped me design this. So it's taking a little bit longer than we thought to get it all perfected and everything else. So we're hoping that will all be sorted out. As soon as it is, I can get on with it. But the thing is, I can't start it because I have to work out where the wiring's going to go, and if even there's room to get it in, because certainly if I've got a problem with the wiring and it's literally, you know, going to be down the side of a tub or something else like that, I need to sort it out. So we need to get that sorted out. As soon as it's done, I will be on with that. The RAF Odeon trip, we've got 18 people up for that at the moment. I must admit, I thought it would be a bit more of a rush for this. Haven't seen it, guys, have a look on the site. Certainly we talked about it in the forum. I know a lot of you have asked if you can take partners who are non-members and things like that. As I said before, yes, I've got no problem with that, but obviously priority will go to all members of the site. It is for members only. You have to be a subscriber to go on the trip as well. What will happen shortly is obviously I'll be talking about money. I know some of you have donated large amounts of money to this as well. You know, I won't embarrass you all by saying how much and who did, but certainly some of you have been very, very generous for the charity. Obviously, this is all going to go to 1310 Flight, who are out in Afghanistan, who fly the Chinooks out there. The money goes to them, so they can spend it on what they need as they're in theatre, instead of other charities who, you know, probably waffle it away and all the rest of it. So, going to be a really, really exciting day. Can't wait for this one. It is on the Friday. Some of you said the day. It's going to be a Friday, so you are going to need a little bit of time off for work, but trust me, it'll be well worth doing. Things we're talking about as well, we're trying to sort out at the moment. Obviously, we will be at IPMS Nationals in Telford in November. Great show. If you've never been to the show before, trust me, if you've been to model shows, this will knock it dead, including the US and everything else. We have masses of traders there. We have all the SIGs, all the interest groups will be there, and obviously all the clubs will be at there. So it's a massive show. A lot of the European guys come over for it as well, including our very own Stefan and Jonas will be over from Sweden, who are our team members here on the site. They're coming over for it as well. So also what we're going to do is, we spoke to a few members last year who were in hotels and tucked out the way. What we will do is, well, Mel will, shortly she's going to book the hotel for us and the team. We'll let you know which hotel we're staying in, and then obviously during the evening now we can all, you know, have a drink together and everything else. So any of the members who are planning on coming up there and everything else, next week we'll probably book it Monday or Tuesday. We'll put up details of the hotel we're staying at, and obviously the hotel bar you'll be finding us in the evening and everything else, so that way we can all sort of make a real nice show of it. Obviously we'll be staying up on the Friday night and the Saturday night, so you can come along and chat to us like that. So that's great. So anyway, because there's not much else to talk about, what I've actually done is I sat down. I had a few people ask me about using super glue as a filler, so I've done this little film for you. Okay, so here's a quick little run through of filling. Okay, now we've all got the standard types of fillers. We've got Squadron Green, Putty, you can use Mr. Surface, I thickened up. I've got down here, this is my green putty with a little bit of cellulose thinners or lacquer thinners, makes it like a tar and all the rest of it. Now they're great for getting into funny little areas and things like that. So if you wanted to get them in, you know, to tight little nooks and crannies, you're okay. Now if you're like me though, the big drawback to all of these is they take forever to dry, okay? You put them in and then you have to leave them overnight, and you can't really just get on with what you want to do. So a nice fuel tank here has given up his life to be a demo piece. I've put in here some holes. Now what we've done, as you can see, we've put in a couple of big holes in here, and how I would, you know, basically go about filling them. Now the first thing you're going to know is obviously they're big holes, so they're not going to fit. You know, obviously filler is going to fall through and all the rest of it. So a way around that is, you should have really prepared this a little bit earlier. He's just looking for, here it is. Sorry about that. What I tend to use, a bit of plastic card. Now, when you say plastic cards, you could always use any other type of plastic you can find, okay? What you can really do is roughly come along, cut the size of the hole it is. Okay, so this, okay, so we're thinking, well, that'll fill up most of it. So what we can do is we can say, right, okay, we'll take a lump of that. Okay, because that's going to pretty much take care of it. Okay, but then perhaps we want to stick in a little bit of something else in there to make it really flush. So you can say, all right, let's take another piece. Shim that in. Now what I'm doing is I'm cutting them slightly at an angle. So when they fit in, the idea is they wedge a little bit. Okay, so you can come along and say, right, okay, Mr. Hole that we've got here. Okay, wedge them in just like that. Okay, come along with like a liquid cement, you know, Tamiya Extra Thin or your favourite brand. Okay, paint that round, let it dry, sand it off, and then fill it and all the rest of it. But because we want to do this right now and then, you know, here and in one take, what we're going to use is a little bit of super glue. Okay, we're just going to pop it at the top. Let it run down the sides, round the back. Just like so. We're going to take some kicker, hold it upside down as well. As soon as you put it on, the reason for holding it upside down is it draws it all downwards. Okay, it makes a curve and it stops it running off, because when you put kicker, or certainly this type of kicker onto super glue, what it tends to do, it hits it and then makes it thinner and goes all over the place. So we'll let that dry just a second. Okay, and it should be pretty quick. Okay, and then you can come along with a knife. or your saw. I'll tell you what, we'll be a bit more professional over this. We'll use a razor saw if you wanted to, or something else like that. But for this one, just for speed, we are literally going to hack this off with a knife. Okay, just to take it down just a touch. Okay, just a little bit more. And what you'll find is obviously when you're cutting plastic, it cuts extremely quickly, very, very easily. But when you come to the super glue bit, it might be a little bit hard. But that's taken care and filled in that hole just like so. Okay, and then all we've got to do is pop along then with our sanding sticks. So we'll use that, bring you in a bit. A medium one first. Right the way over and sand through. Now I know a lot of people will say, well, what you can do is you can add little bits of talcum powder and things to the mix to make it easier to sand and things. Personally, I'm more of a sort of get it in there guy, because it dries very hard, very fast. Okay, that's looking all pretty good. Quite happy with how that is. Okay, just down through the grits. This is more of a finer grit. Okay, nicely over the top. And then obviously you can come in with a sanding sponges. That camera's having trouble. Come on, camera. And there we go. One filled hole extremely quickly. Okay, now these clear areas around it isn't actually a hole. What that actually is clear of the super glue where it's set rock hard and gone in there just like that. So other little things you can do using that principle, okay, is things like perhaps if you've cut the nose off, shall we say accidentally you came along one day and hacked the nose clean off your aircraft, you know, a razor saw suddenly goes out of control, something like that, okay? Other little things you can do is come along with some super glue right round the edge, making a bit of a blob over the end, squirt it, hold it upside down. That will start to dry and react in there. Okay, then you can come along with a little bit more. Kick up, upside down. Oops, that's not what we want. Don't want to drip out ideally. Because we want it to set before it's coming down. Okay, letting that down just like so. Hopefully next week, guys, we'll have a new lighting system in here. I've bitten the bullet and spent quite a bit of money and bought a new lighting rig which should be shadow free. And what it does, it has massive lights both sides of me, so we won't get this dark shadow around here. And hopefully it'll make everything a little bit more sharper because the camera doesn't have to work quite as hard because we've got very good lighting. Okay, so we got the end done just like this. Okay, which is all very well and good. So what we'll do now is, now we've got it working, we can put a drop of super glue on the end, bit of kicker. That went a little bit wrong because it flicked it off. We don't want it to flick it off, we want it to hang down, but we want it to set, and as it's setting, we're hoping. So what we're doing now is squirting the outside of here. It runs down and it's a setter, and it will be making that end hard. It does spit and crackle, which is always a little bit worrying. Obviously I can't show you on here, we need the camera underneath. But what we should be getting is almost like a stalactite effect, starts hanging on the end. So what we hope now is we can get a little bit more glue onto the end here, and you can literally start building up the end. Okay, so we'll just keep this manoeuvring. Should just keep a towel under it, might be easier. Okay, and we've got it slightly going out of shape now. We want it a little bit more in shape. but as you pour on super glue and kicker and all these horrible things, it'll just keeps building up the end. Now, one thing, the reason for showing you this is how you can do navigation lights and things like that. Okay, so there is method in the old man that's for showing you this. So if you've lost perhaps a clear part for a nose or a light, you can just make it out of super glue. Okay, so we're getting there now. Tiny bit more. So we just keep walking it round and we're just building up layer after layer. And what you can do, the little trick to this is you can come along at any point and put a clear gloss in here. I know this is white and horrible, but what will happen is when we polish it up, it should become quite clear as we go through. Okay, we have got a couple of little bits we don't want, but we're just manoeuvring it all down and really just trying to build up nice area. So we just come down to that last bit. We'll let that dry off on the end of its own accord. Would be really nice if it will. Now the things you have to worry about when you're using Kicker and super glue is obviously heat. What happens is the chemical reaction happens, it gets warm. Trust me, see the smoke? That's how hot this is actually getting now. You might be able to see it coming off here. You get little whiffs of it, so just be careful with the fumes of this as well, because it will make your eyes water. Luckily I've got the window open right behind me. But it will spit, it will crackle, and it's not nice. And when you touch it, just being very careful that it is going hard now, it will be warm. It will be quite pliable as well. Okay, so that's sort of cooling down, just like so. So the last thing I'll show you as that is drying off, as he's stuck his thing to the paper, if we were to make a little nick just in the end of this here, okay, so if we make, I'm going to make this oversized so you can really see it a lot better, but if we get in here and nick out, just taking through, okay, just a little corner like this. If you were to come along with super glue, right, so pop in Kicker first, and that will just make it eat as soon as it touches. Pop in super glue, give it a squirt, let it work, okay. That'll fill in the hole in just the same way. That's on there, and then all we're going to do is just backfill the hole and make it slightly too big. And this is the idea for doing a wing light or something like that perhaps on the edge, but this will work as equally well for anything, guys, so don't worry if you're talking about armour and bits just like that. Okay, so we'll just let that sit on there. I'm hoping it's going to dry off. So kick up. Kicker is a great tool, but don't overuse it. If you flood the area, what it will do is, if you're using it in a wing joint, before you know it, you've got super glue halfway down your plane. See the smoke coming off? That's the chemical reactions happening in there. What happens is it gets like an air bubble inside, it gets superheated and then it pops. So we get this type of look on the end. Okay, now I'm going to leave that to keep going. So what we're going to do now is just come along with this other end. Quite a coarse file to start with. We're just going to reshape this end that in theory our nasty razor saw accidentally cut the front of your plane off. And all we do is go around using it like a rasp to roughly start shaping it, okay? Use stronger grits to start with the cut, but working a little bit like a farrier. We can slice off these ends. And what you might find is occasionally you get the odd drop of super glue still in the end that's still a little bit soft, but the dust that you create by cutting and sanding this down will just fill that in. So we're just coming back. So that's in with a very rough one, just like that, and then obviously working back through your grades. We're just coming in. So we'll just shape the ends a little bit pointy. Okay, and normally obviously you'd do another grade as well, but for the moment I'll just get in here with a sanding sponge. But there we go, that gives us our end back on. Okay, so then you'd obviously go through all your sanding, polish it up all very nicely, but that's our end put back on, just like so. Okay, this one down here will just get the same treatment. So imagine this is a light. Okay, stay with me on this. So we're just, for the moment, sharp file, just to cut the super glue off. As soon as you're roughly to the size, that's when I'll switch to a finer grit. Okay. Exactly the same way, and then obviously we've got a finishing one here. So trouble is using sanding sticks, they flatten the area in with a sponge, which hopefully will conform a little bit. Just like so. Actually it's a little too good, I can't even see where it is now. Okay, and then obviously you can use polishers to come back in. And there we have, hopefully you can see, your light would be in there. So obviously if you've done it in there first with your colour, you've still got the clearness and gives you light and is a perfect look to it. So depending if you wanted to use super glue for filling, if you're doing a big hole, I would backfill it with something first and then in, and that's lovely and smooth. If you're trying to put a new front on, you know, then obviously you can do it with super glue and just build up a few layers and put it in just like that. And if you want to do light, so if you've got a light situation which your clear part, you've lost it or just won't fit, do it with super glue. Simple as that. So there you go, I hope that helped out. It certainly speeds me up, and it is the reason a lot of people say how do you build so quick is because I use super glue as a filler, so I don't have to wait for filler to dry and things like that. So anyway, that's about it for this week. Until next week, everyone, happy modelling, and I'll see you soon.